Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. It is Wednesday, and that means we bring on the man, the myth, the legend, Matt, the mortgage guy. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Matt. So you are part of my Facebook group. You're a part of my course. You know that I've launched this new concept called recycling capital. It is something that I talk about in my book almost by accident. I did not appreciate how recycling capital turbocharged our investing career, right? It starts with cash out refis, then it's 1031 exchanges, then it's adjusting debt as we start to retire, right? Lever up here, pay down there. The ability to use mortgages to recycle capital is something I want to talk about with you because there are three ways to do it, and then there's one way not to. So I thought we would talk about those together. You ready?
Right. Yeah, I'm having a lot of these conversations right now too with people, with more equity in the house than they've ever seen, and they're thinking, oh, maybe I pull something out and do something with that. So
Yeah.
looking forward to the convo.
Yeah. So folks, again, let me just say it up front. I'm sure I'll say it again. If you're in California and you've bought your property in the last year or so, or if you're paying PMI, you really need to look at this. And if you bought your property 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, you should at least have these discussions. So Matt, how do you want them to reach out if that's who they are?
Right. If you're in California, shoot me an email, Matt, M-A-T-T at mattthemortgageguy.com. Like Mike says, and like I remind you, there's 3 T's in there, but it's Matt at mattthemortgageguy.com.
Yeah. So here's the deal, right? When you go back and you talk about doing a refinance, I really believe there are three ways that you can do it. So we'll talk about the first one, which, if you're a Dave Ramsey fan, this one is probably you, right? You have a 30-year loan you bought in California 8 years ago. Your rate's probably 6%. I'm just guessing. And today, with today's rates at 3, you could really do a refinance and frankly shorten the term, right? You'll go from 23 years left to, I don't know what it will be, 14, 15 years.
Yeah,
left.
you could probably do a 15 close to 2% in that scenario. And
Wow.
I mean, I don't knock people. Like some people have different goals than maybe I do. So it's like, hey, if paying off this house is the ultimate goal and that's the number one priority, why would you not get into a loan where you lower the rate from 5, 6, whatever it's at, to 2.125 and shave 7 years off the term?
I want people to hear that again. If you are in a California it's a great goal. If your number one goal is to have your house free and clear, I applaud you. But don't be an idiot and keep paying 6% because you have 23 years left. Do a refi, get into a lower rate, and shave 7, 8, 9 years.
Right. Right. And this is a common question, Mike, where people are like, I don't want to refi. I don't want to restart the amortization schedule. I feel like I'm going backwards. Nowadays, I can put you in a 15-year loan. I can put you in a 17. I can put you in a 21. I can put you in a 27. There's some people that bought in 19. They can refinance and see a lot of benefit from it. I don't want to go back to a 30. I've only got 28 years left. Great. Let's lower your rate and let's put you in a 28-year.
You know what? I'll do a 26. We'll take 2 off. What do you want?
Exactly.
What are you going to complain about now?
Right. And something that people don't take into consideration too, like let's say there's that scenario where you've got 22 years left and we can lower the rate by so much that you're going to be able to keep your same payment, but shave 7 years off. What people don't understand, if plans change, if you sell after 7 years, you know what happens is between now and your sell date from 7 years from now, you're in a 15-year 2.125. More is going towards principal.
Oh, a lot
you
more.
might be $30,000 ahead with the same exact payment because you've tweaked the amortization. 2.125 versus 6 has got a whole different amortization schedule. 23 years left versus 15, very different. So
gigantic.
don't not check. I mean, that's the thing that blows my mind. It's like, I had a client last week that was like upset with himself. And I said, listen, man, it is what it is. Right. but he didn't think that he could refinance. So he didn't look into it. Now he realizes he can, but he sat in a 5.5% for years. And it was not a small loan amount. It's in California. It's a large loan amount. And, this is one, Mike, where we're saving him $1,700 a month.
Oh, that's 20 grand a year.
Right. Yeah. So not everybody has a 7-figure loan balance, but if that's you, take a look.
Yeah. Here's the deal, right? If you're in and again, if your goal, step one of this is to pay off the loan early. If your rate's 4% or more, reach out to Matt, the mortgage guy, and just do the math. Most of you will get less time. And if that is your goal, then do it. Shave 2, 3, 8, 10 years off your loan. At least you got to reach out. You got to ask the question. Right. So that's number one, which a lot of people don't get or think about. Number two, if you are allergic to debt and you don't want your loan balance to go up, totally get it. But maybe you want to get your cash flow up, i.e. your example just a minute ago of saving $1,700. That is called a rate and term refi. So talk about why that works.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, that's just a simple math question. And that's why, like I said, reach out, because if you've got a 4.25, maybe you're paying PMI, maybe you're not. But if we look at it and say, oh, we can get you a 2.875 and it's going to save you $200 per month, it's an easy math equation. Yeah. We've got, some lender stuff, some title fees. If that totals 2,600 and you're saving $200 a month in interest, in 13 months, you break even. If you plan on staying there for at least the next 5 years, well, in those 5 years, you're going to save what's that, 12 grand, and you paid 2,600. That's a good deal. It's a pretty good ROI.
Yeah. So again, folks, if you're sitting here watching this and you want to save time, you could shave years off by lowering rate. If you don't want debt to go up, if that's your thing, you can still lower rate and save money every month. And if you want, you can put the extra 200 towards principal. That's okay. Right. And then there's the third one, what I call a cash out refinance. Now, this one you have to be careful with. I write about it in my book. The first time I did it badly. I created an alligator. But in today's world, I think I'm going to say this, you can agree or disagree, but I think real interest rates today are negative. I think inflation's running above 5%, and most people watching this can borrow at 3%. So by my math, that's a negative 2%.
Right.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. You're winning by borrowing money at sub 3%. I'm in agreement with that. And, on the cash out stuff, lenders limit you. Lending is stricter than it's been in a long time. Yeah. And so they're not going to allow you to get in trouble. They're not going to allow you to have a payment that's, more than X% of your gross income. And on an investment property, they're going to cap you at 75%. So, your house is worth 600. You can't have a loan higher than 450. And so
that was not the case in 2006. I was given way too much money. And I remember writing my payments like $1,250 on a house that was $1,100 rent. I'm like, I am losing every gosh darn month. What an idiot I am.
And I want to touch on that because I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and I think everybody should be thinking this. It was somebody who was, I might keep my house, but I might do a cash out refinance now, and I might buy a new primary year or two from now, and was having that conversation with me about what would that mortgage forward look like? What would a cash out on the current one look like? And what I wanted this person to do the work on was, what would your house rent for? First and foremost. Now take that and chop off 15 or 20% for incidental stuff, right? Yes. Have a buffer in place. When we do a cash out refinance, don't get yourself in a position where you can create the alligator that you call it. And that's the first thing. Because what some people do is they just go, oh, I think I'm going to use 100,000 on an investment property down the street. So I'm going to pull that out of this house. This house is going to eventually become a rental when I move out of it. Plan for that now. You've now, right. You've got the data now. So don't create this big mortgage payment. And so, no fault of their own, but the person I was talking with was like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that. Well, think about that. Right. And so that way we can game plan to where you go, okay, I'm going to pull out this much. My payment's going to be $1,350. It's going to rent for $1,800. I've got some buffer here where if I've got to replace a hot water heater or something, like this thing's not going to eat at me. It's going to pay me when I move out of it.
Yeah. And that's why I want people that follow one rental at a time to reach out to you, because again, not only you are a mortgage broker looking and having all these conversations, but you're also an investor, right? You are looking at deals, you own properties. So you can look at it from an investor perspective. You're not just some guy who only does, owner occupant loans.
And I've done some stuff really right, and I've done some stuff really wrong.
Yeah.
So
we admit both.
Yeah. I'll be able to tell you, no, this sounds a lot like something I did in the past that didn't turn out so well.
Yeah, that hurt for a long time. Yeah. Those 3 years of that alligator were not fun for me. So again, one of the things that I want to talk about with cash out refi today, especially because rates, again, this only applies to people who get 30-year money. To me, don't get a 5 ARM, don't get a 7, don't do anything like that. 30-year money has never been this cheap. I believe rates, again, are negative today, given where inflation is. So I am personally taking a couple of free and clear assets, adding debt, 30-year fixed debt, so that I can have the cash that I look to deploy in the future. And if you would have asked me 2 years ago if I was going to do that, I'd be like, nope, those are free and clear on purpose. Don't want them. But just the environment changed. Money today is essentially free. I can still put debt on it and cash flow just fine. But I can also get a pile of cash that I can deploy later. Who's to know in 2 years or a year and a half or a year, A, where rates will be? I'm going to guess higher. But 2, where lending will be, right? I have worked in environments where investors are not options. So I'm going to get the money while the money's good. I'm going to sit on it. I'm not going to buy a boat. I'm not going to buy a stupid car. I'm not going to buy a watch. It will sit there. And then when I have an asset that's a great deal, I'll take it down because I can. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Sometimes all I have to do is watch, Mike, and I don't even have to be that smart. And I got a lot of people who are clients of mine that are reaching out and saying, you know what? I've got $500,000 on the sidelines, but I'll take another 250. It's cheap money. Let's do a cash out refinance in this one. And I know based on current portfolio, net worth and stuff, this guy's done some things right in his life. Maybe he's on to something, right? And then when I see that repeated 80 to 100 times, I'm like, that seems to be a common.
We need to go get some money out of the fourplex.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So again, folks, when you reach out to Matt the Mortgage Guy, again at matt@mattthemortgageguy.com, I would say to come with what do you want? Do you want to shorten the term? Because hey, you want it free and clear. If that's you, great. I think you can do that. And certainly if you're paying PMI, come on, stop that. Second, if you don't want more debt, you can do a rate and term. I've done a couple of those. And then finally, if you have a bunch of equity, like I have in a couple of free and clear things, I'm going to go get it right now because I want the money now while lending is good, rates are low. I don't want to guess where lending will be in a year. I can't predict the future. My crystal ball is as broken as yours.
Right. Yeah. And I'll touch on that real quick, Mike, because here's my ask and here's my promise. My ask is that you send us a mortgage statement. Here's my estimated credit score. Here's what I'm thinking about doing. Can you show me some scenarios? And my promise is that I'm going to show and present options, give my feedback. Me and my team don't sell anything. We just present options. And you're going to send something that says, hey, I think this is worth 600. My credit score is this. It's an investment property. I'm thinking about pulling some cash out, maybe 100, maybe 150,000. We're going to present those two options. And I'm going to say, yeah, not only is your rate coming down, but you're able to, if you're going to use that capital where you think you can get some yield in the future, then, borrow it at 3.5% on an investment property, whatever that is. And we just present it. And I've probably got, I don't know how many, 300 scenarios that we've sent out on various different things. I've tagged a few of them green light where I'm like, this person needs to act and I need to help them act. Mm-hmm. But for the vast majority of people where it's like, you don't have to take money out of an investment property. It's your choice. Yeah. Present you the option. Let us know if you'd like to. We'd be happy to help you.
Yeah. Folks, do me a favor, especially if you're in California, one rental at a time fan, send them your scenario. Let's test them. So far, the feedback has been awesome. People love the, again, you can't promise yes answers, but you can promise quick answers. And you've been I'm so glad you're in the course. And your Mortgage 101 section in the course, rave reviews. Nice.
Oh,
work.
Sweet. One of these days, I'm going to put that thing out as a course of my own, but I don't know what I'm waiting for. Maybe I'm busy writing mortgages.
There you go. Well, do me a favor one more time. How can people get a hold of you? Because now's the time.
Sure. Matt@mattthemortgageguy.com. I know if you're outside of California, I've had multiple people like, please, I want to work with you and your team. I've heard great things. If you go to greatmortgagebroker.com, fill out that 6 quick questions, the folks at U Mortgage are going to take care of you. I've gotten rave reviews from those on my YouTube live. It's like, my sister closed her refinance in 3 weeks. Thanks for referring me to U Mortgage. So outside of California, for now, greatmortgagebroker.com. They can take good care of you. Inside of California, Matt@mattthemortgageguy.com. Me or my team will be back to you in 24 hours. That's our goal.
Very cool. Thank you very much for this. I appreciate our time every week. Thanks, brother.
Thanks, Mike.